In my last deep dive, we explored the rise and fall of Capcom's Disney games, a golden age of NES and SNES platformers that defined a generation. But while Capcom was ruling Nintendo's consoles, over on Sega's side of the fence, a certain short-tempered duck was getting ready for his own globe-trotting adventure. And this wasn't just any Disney game, this was QuackShot, starring Donald Duck. Part Indiana Jones, part Saturday morning cartoon, and all Sega charm. It had bright colors, cinematic flair, and just enough puzzle solving to set it apart from its competition. Today, we're heading back to 1991 to uncover the story behind Sega's treasure hunting duck, how it was made, what made it special, and why it still holds a place in gaming history more than 3 decades later. By the early 1990s, Sega was riding a wave of momentum with the Genesis, or Mega Drive, depending on which side of the globe you lived on. Nintendo still had a stranglehold on the market, but Sega was gaining ground thanks to a clever mix of edgy marketing, arcade ports, and first-party exclusives. Disney's partnership with Capcom had already proven lucrative for Nintendo, so Sega wanted its own slice of the Disney magic. But instead of outsourcing, Sega opted to develop its Disney games in-house through its CS department in Japan. This strategy had already paid off with Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse in 1990. That game didn't just sell well, it proved that Sega could take a beloved Disney character and deliver a game that matched or exceeded the quality of Nintendo's offerings. For their next project, Sega wanted something different. Mickey had already taken center stage, so why not give the spotlight to another Disney icon? Enter Donald Duck, a character with a built-in comedic personality, more attitude than Mickey, and a visual design that fit right in with Sega's brighter, more energetic style. And the theme? Adventure. Big, cinematic, treasure-hunting adventure. The team leaned into a pulpy, globe-trotting premise inspired by Indiana Jones, complete with ancient ruins, maps, exotic locations, and a dash of slapstick humor. The plot was simple but effective. Donald discovers an old map leading to the legendary treasure of King Garuzia. The catch? Big Bad Pete and his goons are after it too. Cue a chase around the world, which stops in Mexico, Egypt, Transylvania, and beyond. From the moment you start QuackShot, it's clear this isn't just a run-and-jump platformer. Sure, you can hop across platforms, dodge enemies, and collect items, but the game layers in a light adventure structure that forces you to think ahead. The most iconic feature is Donald's plunger gun. At first, it might just seem like a quirky projectile weapon. Fire plunger, stun an enemy, move on. But the plunger's real magic is its secondary function: sticking to walls, creating makeshift ladders, and opening up new routes. As you progress, you upgrade your arsenal. Suddenly, areas that were once blocked become accessible, giving the game a light Metroidvania feel years before the term became popular. And unlike most platformers of the time, you can choose the order of which you visit certain locations. Start in Duckburg, fly to Mexico, head to Transylvania. It's up to you. Of course, the game makes sure you eventually hit a roadblock, sending you back to other areas to grab the right tool or talk to the right NPC. It's a structure that rewards curiosity. The Viking ship puzzle in the South Pole, the locked doors in Egypt, the hidden treasures in Mexico. These moments make QuackShot feel less like a straight shot to the finish and more like a little globe-spanning quest. And then there's Donald himself. He's not the fastest character, and his jump can feel a little floaty compared to Sonic or Mario, but his animations give him personality. Eat too many red peppers, and he throws a hilarious temper tantrum, stomping and squawking before snapping back into action. One of the strongest elements of QuackShot is how each location feels distinct. Mexico is bright and sun-drenched, with crumbling Aztec ruins and rope-swinging challenges. Transylvania is appropriately spooky, with gothic castles, candlelit halls, and bats swooping through narrow passageways. Egypt brings sandstorms, quicksand pits, and booby-trapped pyramids. The South Pole has slippery ice and a memorable Viking ship segment. Each stage also has unique enemies tied to its settings: bandits in Mexico, mummies in Egypt, vampire bats in Transylvania. They're not just generic bad guys. They feel like part of the world, and between these stages, Donald hops into his plane, piloted by his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie, to globe hop to the next destination. These short cutscenes add a travelogue feel, as if you're flipping through the pages of Donald's adventure journal. Boss fights are sprinkled in, though they're not the main attraction. They serve more as punctuation marks at the end of each major segment. The real satisfaction comes from unlocking a new area, solving a tricky environmental puzzle, or finally getting past the wall you couldn't climb 5 stages ago. If the visuals bring QuackShot's world to life, the music makes you want to stay there. The soundtrack, composed by Shigenori Kamiya, is pure early 90s Sega charm, upbeat, melodic, and perfectly matched to each environment. Mexico's theme has a bouncy, adventurous feel. Transylvania is slower and spookier, with a hint of mystery. The South Pole theme feels crisp and chilly, without being too subdued. The sound effects carry the same attention to detail. The thwunk of the plunger gun is oddly satisfying. The Genesis sound chip gave Sega's in-house composers a very different palette compared to the Nintendo's consoles, and QuackShot uses it well. When QuackShot released in late 1991, it was met with warm reviews from the gaming press. Critics praised its vibrant graphics, faithful character design, and charming animations. The non-linear structure was seen as a refreshing change from more traditional platformers. That said, not every review was glowing. Some critics found the pace a bit slow compared to faster, more action-heavy games like Sonic the Hedgehog. The backtracking was divisive. Some players loved the sense of explorations, others saw it as padding. Still, magazines like Mean Machines in the UK and Electronic Gaming Monthly in the US recommend it as a must-play for the Genesis owners, especially Disney fans. In Japan, the Mega Drive's smaller market meant it didn't reach the same level of popularity, but it developed a loyal following nonetheless. Sales were respectable, if not blockbuster level, and the game remained a steady catalog title for Sega through the early 90s. Over the years, QuackShot has earned a reputation as one of the best Donald Duck games ever made, and one of the Genesis standout licensed titles. Part of that legacy comes from how well it captured Donald's personality. He's not just a skin over a generic hero. His mannerisms, animations, and even his weapon choice all feel tailor-made for him. It also helps cement Sega's reputation for developing high-quality Disney games in-house. Alongside Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion, QuackShot showed that Sega didn't need Capcom to make a hit. They could do it themselves, and with their own flavor. Fans have kept the flame alive. There's a particular nostalgia for its mix of platforming and puzzle solving, a blend that's surprisingly rare even today. And while Donald has starred in other games, like the later Maui Mallard and Cold Shadow, nothing quite captures the adventurous tone of QuackShot. Fans still call for a full HD remake, especially given the success of DuckTales Remastered. In a way, QuackShot is a reminder of a time when licensed games could be ambitious, charming, and memorable, not just quick cash-ins. Sega's Disney era may have been shorter than Capcom's, but titles like QuackShot ensure it won't be forgotten. QuackShot starring Donald Duck might not have had the widespread recognition of DuckTales or the speed of Sonic, but it carved out its own legacy as a thoughtful, charming platformer with an adventurous heart. It's a game that invites you to take your time, explore, and enjoy the journey. And for Donald Duck, that's saying something. If you've played QuackShot, I'd love to hear your memories. And if you enjoyed this trip back into Sega's Disney days, be sure to check out my full video on the rise and fall of Capcom's Disney games for the other side of the story. If you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing for more retro video content just like this. And with that being said, keep on gaming.